Hi, this is GMAC for the Razor Company, and today's shave will be focused on a lightweight razor that has become a favorite of many shavers worldwide. And the reason for that, of course, is it offers convenience, safety, and of course, a good shave. There's a big fan club for it. At the same time, there are a group of seasoned shavers who frown upon it. But for me, if it shaves well, it doesn't matter if it has training wheels or not. If it does the job and you enjoy the ride, why not? So today's shave, of course, will be focused on the Henson AL13. I absolutely love the color of this. I've seen the blue, the silver, and the other offerings from Henson, but the AL13, this is a tan color. I was very fortunate to get it. It looks very solid. It doesn't look like aluminum. Aluminum is not one of my favorite metals as far as razors are concerned. But this, in spite of the fact that it's fairly lightweight, it feels solid, as you can see. Let me give you a close look at that. I absolutely love this razor. So let me get down to a little bit of history regarding Henson shaving. It was started in 2020 by Daniel Jansi and the family members. But the main four lads who were involved in starting off the business, of course, were Ashley Knox, Daniel Jansi to begin with, Brad Jansi and Ryan Jansi. And they, of course, were joined later on. The current team does involve Alicia Jansi and Rachel Jansi as well. It's a big team that performs really well. And this is a company that was famous, or rather popular, for making parts for aerospace projects for about 20 years. And two of the big ones were, they did make parts for the ExoMars rover and critical components for the OneWeb constellation. Very innovative company. And Daniel Jansi, coming from a family of entrepreneurs, was always intrigued about how a business runs and what makes it successful. So hence they did shift into making razors, and they wanted to make something which had extremely tight tolerances, which could last for life. Aluminum can, it really can last for life. And they also wanted to include one very important bit, and that the Henson becomes a daily habit for shavers. For them, it was not just making money out of the business, but coming out with a product that would, of course, help shavers first and then make money. However you want to look at it. If your product works, if it's a great product, it's always going to be successful. Let's talk about the razor itself. This, of course, is made to AS 9100 aerospace standards. I really don't know what that is, but I understand that that's very, very high grade, or it's high standard. This razor comes with 5 free blades, normally RK blades if I'm not mistaken, though today I'm going to be going with a feather. I just thought the feather was a better match for it. So this razor weighs about 1.3 ounces, which is about 36.85 grams. The entire length of it, if I'm not mistaken, is about 96 millimeters. And the blade exposure is 0.0023. The gap is 0.85. As you can see from the side, it's quite evident. So let's get down to shaving. So first up, also, let me just remind you of the other gear that I'm using. I'll be using my timeless TR bowl for lathering. I'll be using my brush, which is the Frank Shaving PureTech Pro. And for today's soap, I decided to get something a little bit different. I'm going in with the Mallard chai. I've got a sample which was given to me by a friend. No picture on it, but it does have duck fat in it. We'll discuss the soap another day. So as for the blade, let's load up the blade, which is the feather. Also, very, very nice bit to look at is the parts of the razor. So the handle, I'm going to run you by the other parts. That's the top of the base blade, as you can see. And that, of course, is the underside of the top cap. I've already got a blade out, so I'm going to go ahead with that. You've got two little locators in there on the top cap, so that works fairly well to just secure the blade. As usual, you just want to go with the, just screw on the handle. I always tend to put the head of the razor upside down to do that. The good thing about the Hensen is that the blade just, aligns itself. You don't really have to work hard at it, and that's how it looks. I don't know if you can see the blade in there. There's a bit of reveal. Yeah. I don't think you can get, unless I turn it a little bit. Yeah. All right, so let's get down to the shave itself. Wet the face first and go for the first pass. I had to run through a little bit of the history on Hensen because there are a lot of shavers who actually, do like Hensen, and then there are a lot of shavers who feel that it's a razor with training wheels, and it's often regarded, or it's often, described as that. So let's get straight ahead with our, it used to be called grooming department, but now it's called Aeon Care, if I'm not mistaken, and the Mallard Chai. Let's go with the first pass. I do love the fragrance of this. It's an absolutely lovely fragrance. I've gone in with a thin lather today because the Hensen, of course, having that really minimal blade exposure, I did not want to load it up with too much of lather. It does tend to be a bit annoying then. And there are some days, like when I do use the Mueller R41, I'm always careful of getting a watery lather rather than going in for a thick yogurt-like consistency, as a lot of shavers like. I'm not really fond of that kind of a lather for certain razors. The Mallard Chai, it's chai, of course, is tea in India. That's the term, but now, of course, it's known worldwide. Not very difficult to find out what Mallard Chai means. It's kind of saying duck tea. Does a duck have tea? Maybe in the wind and the willows. Maybe in the enchanted forest. You never know. The soap feels lovely, though. It's a very refreshing kind of a fragrance to it. So let's get straight down to business and start with our first pass. Just going to get the lather out from here. And just a quick mention on the soap. The soap, of course, does have a duck fat in it. So even if you get a thick lather or a thin consistency or a watery lather, it doesn't matter. You can feel it. It's almost like applying a moisturizer on your face. If I'm not mistaken, the man behind this is Mohammed Abed. He's a wonderful lad and really believes in giving his customers great products. So here we go, first pass. The cushion and the slickness is quite amazing, actually. And with Hensen being such a safe razor, you don't really have to bother about, putting on a pre-shave. You just have a decent soap. And you have maybe a little bit of, lather, and that's good enough to go. Horses for courses, as far as lather is concerned. There are a couple of friends of mine in the shaving community who love a thick lather always. To me, it doesn't make a difference. As long as you get the protection, you're fine. So Henson has this naturally, inbuilt angle into it, into the razor, that makes it fairly easy to actually shave. This razor does sing. The only thing that I'm going to say is, even though it's aluminum, you really don't want to dig it into your skin. You can, if you use maybe an Astra, put a little pressure, but with a feather you don't need to. You just need to go with a light touch. Heavy razors, you let the razor do all the work, and you basically have to go with a light touch. Well, I'll say the same for light razors. Work towards that. Don't listen to what anyone tells you. You don't want to scrape your face. You want to just, shave off the lather and cut the stubble, or get rid of the stubble. The 30-degree angle is very intuitive on this razor. I don't know if you can hear the feedback, but it's just there. So people will suggest to you using all sorts of blades, but the good thing about the Henson is you can almost throw any blade inside there, and then see how it goes and how you find the comfort level of that blade. I forgot to mention my feather blade is on its second use. I actually love the feel of that soap. It's just, it doesn't happen when you have a thin lather. It just feels good on the skin. It's something to do with probably the duck fat. I'm definitely going to do a review on it and its ingredients, one of the days. If you've ever used a Razor Any Flat Boy, which has more of a flat head, you will understand the feedback or the audio in the Henson. But while the Henson, of course, prides itself on tight tolerances, the Razor Any does not. But I love that razor. Quick rinse. Which just feels so good. It's one of the funny things, right, about shaving, and when shavers do get very seasoned, then they become very picky about what's the sort of razor they're going to use, or more importantly, if that razor is going to be, well, if it packs in an X factor or it doesn't. To me, it really has never made a difference. If it feels good and if you can shave with it, why not? Not very fond of the other colors, but having said that, if you go to the razor company, you will get the full array. You will get the medium, the mild, the aggressive, and even if it sells out, it's always going to be stocked again. So you might want to, take a chance and pick up one of those. So on to our next pass. And while, of course, we get into this, let me also remind you, or let me tell you a little bit of trivia behind this. You're going to try and figure out why the name Henson Shaving, right? So, William Samuel Henson in 1847, well, he was a pre-Wright brothers aviation engineer and inventor. And he invented the T shape of the razor and patented it in 1847. So we got to credit him for it. William Samuel Henson, remember that name? So when the Janzi family, or when Daniel Janzi, I guess, was trying to choose a name, Henson shaving was a worthy tribute to the man who created or designed the first T-shaped razor, which through improvements and modifications would later go on to become the safety razor, or the DE, the double-edge safety razor that we use today. I know that, just to get back to the soap, I know that Aeon Skincare regarding the mallard, Aeon Skincare do have their range of soaps, and one of them is Peaches and Cream. I absolutely love that soap. But this mallard chai is just out of the world. It's got a bit of rose in it, it's got a bit of spice in it. I'd really like to do a review on it one day. I think we're good to go with our next pass. This soap does have a very, very creamy texture. On the face, it feels like you put in a very rich moisturizer, one that you would use in the extreme winters. It really feels good. It feels very, very good on the skin. I have had a few soaps that I've used that have really felt like that. One of them, of course, is one of my favorites, the Barrister and Man Reserve Base, but this one really feels super awesome on your face. So let's go with the second pass. Well, the Henson razor, even though, the lather channels are fairly good, it does hold a lot of lather before you can rinse it. So if you're on the fence because you read somewhere, I always say two things: don't buy into the hype and don't buy into the rumors. But if you're on the fence about, using this this razor for some reason because you've read somewhere that somebody said, oh, it's too mild, or it's too boring, it doesn't have an X factor, I'm going to say that's really, it's unfair to the razor, and it's unfair to you because you really want to experience this razor. I do enjoy it a lot. You can hear that cutting, right? Reminds me a bit of my Blackbird, which you'll always get the audio feedback from it. If you think this razor is not efficient, well, I'd say think again. I love the aggressive, but there are some days when you want to go with a daily shave. I would not pick the mild, and that's my own personal preference. But I would go with the medium or the aggressive. I'm fine with both. The aggressive performs beautifully because it's very efficient. The medium, maybe just a few more strokes to buff. And you can hear that cutting. So AL13 Hensen, if you're like me, you want something that looks solid, going for the tan version. I think that built-in 30-degree angle is just fantastic. It really works beautifully. Oh, it's an absolutely fantastic razor for the against the grain and across the grain passes. Just very, very comfortable. So that's pretty much, I think we're actually done with the second pass. A quick rinse and I'll be back. I can't describe this fragrance. It's just, oh, sitting right underneath all that tea fragrance, there's just a tad bit of duck fat. I don't know if you know what duck fat smells like, but I mean, it's okay if you like pâté de foie or things like that. So, very quickly, quick check. Absolutely smooth. There's I enjoyed that shave. So, you know, as I said, don't buy into the hype. Don't go with the critical reviews. Pick it up for yourself and find out. The Henson AL13. It's a fantastic razor. A quick bit of alum on the face, and then I'm going to introduce you to my my aftershave, which is one of my favorites. Very simple, but was gifted to me by a friend. But first, the alum block. And I had a friend of mine who was, you know, asking me, so what is the alum block that you really use? And mine is, it's the Osma alum block. You can get many different ones. You can actually pick up an alum block even from the razor company, and I would suggest you do that. It really works wonders, especially if you want to close up any parts, any nicks, weepers. I had absolutely no nicks, no weepers, no skin irritation today, and I can't do this like my good mate IMCDB used to, but I had absolutely nothing to complain about. It was a fantastic shave. So if I were you, I would go out. Once again, let me quickly run you through what I used for the shave before I can rinse off the alum and get down to the aftershave. So the Mallard Chai by Grooming Department. I can show you what the inside looks like. It's a bit off-white. One of the best soaps I've used. My skin still feels good. It feels like I shaved with moisturizer. It feels like I've got moisturizer post-shave. Really fantastic. I don't know how they do it. The blade was, of course, a feather. And my trusty timeless TR bowl. A lot of times, you know, friends ask me, why don't you invest in more bowls? I probably will, but I'm not so much of a bowl nerd as I'm a brush nerd. And I do enjoy this Frank shaving brush very, very much. I will, of course, very soon review an AP Shave Company brush. You know, TRC stocks them. They have a very good collaboration with Andrew of AP Shave Company, but that's at another date. So for now, very quickly, let me get the alum off. I'm just going to use a damp towel to do that. So my aftershave for today is going to be the Nivea Men Deep Impact Comfort. I have the vanilla and bourbon, which has absolutely no bourbon in it, but I love this aftershave. It's a very comforting, easy aftershave to use. And before we get to anything else, also let me once again run you through the star of our show today. And if you ask me, who is this razor meant for? I'm going to say for beginners. I wouldn't suggest that you go from cartridge to Hensen mild. I would say go for the aggressive, because this is a razor that even if you don't, sorry, not the aggressive, you go for the medium, because even if you don't buy the aggressive, it kind of gives you the best of both worlds. It can be mild yet very efficient. If you're like me, going for the tan version, it looks very, very regal. It's a light razor, but it doesn't feel so light in the hand. It's quite grippy due to the knurling here. The blade alignment is just spot on. Extremely tight tolerances. You have to be a really, really bad shaver, or you have to be shaving in the dark to cut yourself. Even with the medium, it's extremely mild, extremely smooth, and a great shaver. So go to the razor company and check out the Hensen razors. I recommend it. You know, a couple of years back, maybe I wouldn't, but I've used it. I absolutely love it. Is it my favorite? No. Is it in my rotation? Yes. Is this something that I would carry along with me for travel? 100% due to the weight, and it just delivers. So now for the aftershave, and let me remind you that the next time around, we're probably going to do, well, as I said, a review of a very special shaving brush and a collaboration that TRC has with AP Shave Company. But for now, well, that smells great. You know what's special about the Nivea aftershave, if you do get it? It's got a bit of that tea fragrance in it. Even the bourbon and vanilla, even just the plain deep impact comfort. You know, black tea, it's got a note in there of it, and you can smell it. And it's quite amazing. It's got a little bit of bergamot as well. So that's it for today's shave. I'm sorry that I took a lot of time, of course, just yapping away, but I was just trying to, talk a little bit about the Hensen. Did not like the fact that many people just, kind of write the razor off, even though it's got a super fan club. But go out and buy the Hensen. Absolutely fantastic razor. My recommendation for it is the medium. You don't need to go aggressive. You don't need to go mild. Stay in between. Sit on the fence. Be neutral. That's all from me, GMAC, for today, and it's time for me to, well, shut shop and ship out of here. I'll be back with you really soon with another shaving video. Till then, you stay safe, and bye-bye for now.